Welcome to the channel for the first time viewers. Welcome back for my existing subscribers. We're going to talk about whether or not Battlefield 2042 is a dumpster fire according to a lot of the YouTubers. But before we do that, I want to go ahead and talk about the sponsor for this video. This video is brought to you in partnership with the Ridge wallet, and I was very happy that they reached out to me because I was actually considering buying one of these wallets for myself, and the fact that they reached out was just a big bonus. You can hold up to 12 cards in this wallet. It's super thin, and I have the matte aluminum, so thank you for that, and the matte white aluminum. And one thing I'll say is that with the RFID and just the size of it overall, when you compare it to my previous wallet, this thing is just a win overall. Like it's fantastic, and I definitely recommend it. Again, this is something I was gonna buy. I had seen it in the past with Philip DeFranco, so if you want to get a discount on it, it's 10% off. Use my code, which is in the description. I'll throw it up on the screen real quick, and let's jump back into the video. So with Battlefield 2042, right, a lot of people are just destroying this game because of the glitches and the bugs, and those are present. So what I thought about this game when I started playing it is, you know, it has a lot of potential, but there are those evident glitches and those bugs. Like they fixed a few of the, like the permadeath where you just die, you can't be revived, or you get knocked but you can't be revived and you don't actually die, so you're just in this purgatory. So that was very annoying, and it would happen every so often. So another thing that they fixed was this persistence glitch where you would leave or try to join a game and it just wouldn't, it said it failed to load your persistent data. And that was very annoying as well, especially because, you know, we paid early, or we paid more money, or have EA Play Pro in order to get access to this game early, and it doesn't work, right? But as far as being an overall dumpster fire, let's talk about the positives of this game. The gunplay is really good. The map design, to me, is really good because they're huge, right? So it kind of fits, and it doesn't feel so crammed to have 128 players on the map. A game that I wish I had more time with was MAG on PS3, and this it kind of gives me the feeling of being able to go to these separate spots on the map and have an entire match going on. You just fly back in or you drive back in, and the map really plays to that style with the scale of it, right? And after playing Warzone, it's kind of cool to have another large map to play on, but it obviously is a different type of game. That's one of the positives of the actual map design. Now, when we talk about the weapons, they hit really well, in my opinion. Some of them have a little bit too much recoil when compared to the beta. Like the AK hits really hard, but it also kicks really hard. And there was that glitch where the attachments were having inverse effects. So like you would put an attachment that was supposed to lower your recoil, but it would increase the recoil. But overall, the weapons to me are pretty good, right? They're nice. Are there enough of them? No. And there are more in the game, which really doesn't make sense. So speaking of those other weapons that exist in the game, another big positive of this game is Portal. Being able to go back and play Battlefield Bad Company 2. Now granted, it's not the full scale of the game, but you get a little sample of it. So you get Battlefield Bad Company 2, you get Battlefield 3. There's a lot of different experiences all inside of Portal. It's also interesting to play with the custom mode, so you have some maps that are from, let's say, Bad Company, but it's using weapons and rules from a different game. So there are those custom experiences, and that's a big plus. What I say is some of the negatives is the performance of this game. When we talk about negatives, the performance of this game is trash, right? Even with the DLSS patch, you know, I get decent frames on my systems, but at the same time, I feel like I should be getting what I used to get on Battlefield 5. I should be getting closer to 200 and just hitting that cap at 1440p. It's not like, you know, I'm trying to do all like ultra settings. Like I'm using a mix of high textures and, you know, low everything else with a couple of things on medium, you know, and I'm getting anywhere between, in a very busy scene, I'll get like 100, 110, 115 on a 3090. And on a lighter scene, I'll get closer to like 180. So there are some times where my performance is decent, but I feel like, you know, in other Battlefield games, my floors would be around 150. This looks a little bit better than older Battlefield, so maybe that's why. Now, I'm not talking about Battlefield 4, but I'm talking about like Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5. So that may be why. But again, who wouldn't like to see more performance, especially with a feature like DLSS, which turns out they just really worked on or activated with this last graphics update. Another downside, again, I touched base on how Portal gives you these different experiences, but having so few guns is a big negative, right? So right now I've been playing, I think I got 13 hours in the game, and that's not counting the betas and all the time I spent on that, but 13 hours in the actual launch game. And it's kind of like, I'm tired. I didn't want to use the MX5 or whatever, the MP, really the MP4 or the M4, right? Whatever the new variant, it's like the M5. I don't want to use that because everybody's using that. So I tried to use the AK, and then I found out that the SMGs, really the Bison or the PP19, I think it is the best gun in the game. Essentially, it's better than, it hits as hard as my M5, and it just shoots really fast, has a ton of ammo. It's just really good. So that kind of draws this weird thing where there's only like 2 guns per class. There's a few that you can unlock, but why not just add the guns that are in Portal that already exist in the game, the current ones at least, into the actual 2042 game file? So that to me is kind of weird, that there's all these extra guns that are still recent, still modern, and they're just kind of sitting there not being used. Again, if we're going to talk about negatives, we got to talk about the glitches and the bugs, the infinite deaths, the people driving their cars up actual up ceilings or up walls. That's kind of crazy, of the hovercrafts. The other thing too is I feel like driving is very, very like sketch, right? Like if you turn on the boost, then you kind of lose control of your car. It's and I want to say it was the Burnout team that worked on this game as well in supporting Greater EA or DICE. So to me, that's kind of weird that, you know, you had, because I remember that having that thought that, okay, so a team that worked on driving games worked on this game, and why is the driving so bad? So I don't know. That part to me is just really weird. It's really hard to control the vehicles if you start going at high speeds, which I don't know, it's kind of weird. But yeah, the driving's bad. The graphics are pretty good. The performance is bad. The guns and the gun play is good, but the gun selection is poor. But the guns that they have, to me, like the ones that they actually do have, are pretty decent. Almost forgot, the plus system, straight trash. It doesn't really work all the time. With this last update, I've noticed that when I go into Portal, I can actually add attachments when in game. But before, when I was formulating my thoughts on it and on launch, I would have to actually go through, and I would have to go into the actual classes themselves and then move the attachment into the first slot so that it would equip that attachment in the game when the game loaded. So that to me was just this weird workaround that didn't really need to be, but it was at the end of the day. So at the end, my thoughts on the game is it a dumpster fire? Yes and no. Right? It's not as bad as a dumpster fire as people are saying, but we used to hold DICE to the higher standard. They used to be this perfect developer that everything they dropped was kind of golden. And you're starting to see the bar just drop every single release, right? Not just within DICE, but within all of the gaming industry. Like, look at the new GTA that just rolled out, the trilogy. Completely broken, took it out the store. They're giving people free games to make up for it, right? So the free traditional versions that they originally pulled to sell this trilogy from the Rockstar launcher, they're giving people the originals. There's just so many games, and it's kind of sad to see that Halo is the only game this fall that's really come out in a state that's decent, and it's not perfect, but they're already addressing certain things like the battle pass being a straight up forever grind to level up, but they're already going to address things like that. But the gameplay to me is fun, and I'm not like the biggest Halo fan, but I'm like a casual Halo player. But I've had more fun with Halo than I've had with Battlefield and Vanguard this fall or this holiday season. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this game, if you think it's a dumpster fire or not. Again, it's kind of a yes and a no for me. It's not as bad as people say. If you could put up, or if you have EA Play, then give it that 10-hour trial. And if you don't have EA Play, then I would say maybe try to subscribe for a month for either $5 for the regular EA Play. If you have Game Pass, then it comes with that. And if you have EA Play Pro, like I do on PC, it's like $15 per month. So you can try that, but that gives you unlimited access to the game for the month. And then you can decide whether or not you want to keep the subscription. Disclaimer there, if you do want to get EA Play Pro, I would say just buy the year. It's $100 for the year. Don't do the $15 a month. You end up spending a lot more that way in the long term, but sometimes you just want to try some things. Like I wanted to try Far Cry 6 out, so I got the Uplay Plus, or yeah, you play Plus. So it's all up to you. It's your money. Spend it how you'd like. But that's all I got for this video. Again, check out the sponsor and my partner. It's really awesome. Like I said, the Ridge wallet is something I was actually thinking about buying, and I wouldn't bring something to you all that I wasn't comfortable purchasing myself or talking about freely myself. So go ahead and do me a favor, check them out. I'll catch y'all on the flip. Peace.